Hi, everybody. It's Jill again here for another Midlife Mojo Monday. I've been really excited for tonight's topic, and I've been really enjoying doing these Monday nights, and I hope that you've been enjoying them too, and that you've gained a couple of tips that maybe you've started implementing and using to help thrive during your midlife years. Last week, excuse me, last week we talked about balance and flexibility. We gave some suggestions for that. Did anybody out there try anything new this week or do anything for their balance or their flexibility, any exercises or stretches or anything? Just let me know, because it's really important to do that, especially during your 40s, 50s, and 60s. So tonight, what we're going to do is, last week we sort of talked about the physical. This week we're going to talk about the mental. We're going to talk about the mindset and how we can change the menopausal mindset. We're going to talk about how we can start to speak, think, and act differently and present to the world the new 2.0, or actually I should say the new 4.0 or 5.0 or 6.0 versions of ourselves to the world. But change ultimately happens up here. No amount of sit-ups, kale chips, or somebody telling you, you're the best and you can do anything in the world is going to make you feel that way when you look in the mirror. Unless, it's not going to tell you how you feel inside. Those outward things, can change the outward things, but unless you really change what's going on inside, real change, can't happen. Change, deep down. You need to see yourself as beautiful, just as you are, no matter whether it's a few extra pounds or a few little flabs here, as you're walking, whatever it is, you need to see a few extra wrinkles. You need to see yourself as beautiful. You need to, do things like, I'm sorry, I'm looking here, you want to just make sure that you feel like, when you look in the mirror, you feel worthy, you feel deserving, you feel capable. So in order to start feeling that way, we need to start doing some work, some deep inner work. And that work isn't easy. And it's not an overnight fix. It's something that we have to do consistently over time. I know I've been on this journey for, since my mid-20s, I've been on this journey. So it really is something that you have to dedicate your to. If you really are, you're committed to looking, feeling, and being your best and living your best life, then doing some inner work is just a part of that journey. And we're going to talk about that tonight. For you to create the life you want, you got to get straight in here, so we can kind of get straight out there. And I think us midlife women, we are some of the best actresses on the planet. I'm talking Oscar-worthy, some of us, right? Midlife women, we've created this, self-created facade that we show the world. We've been fooling everybody, including ourselves, for generations. We've watched our moms, our grandmothers, our friends do it, right? You know what I'm talking about, where you get up no matter how you feel, you put on the smile and the cheery disposition and personality, and you just go out and you do your day. And, when you start really looking at the midlife woman, and you kind of start to look beyond the happy smile that's going on all the time and start to look a little bit deeper, like I've been looking lately, you really start to see a different picture. If you look at people's lives out there on Facebook, you think people have it perfect, right? The perfect marriages, the perfect kids, highly successful careers, but that's fake book. That's not real life. A lot of times what we put out there is nobody even knows what's really going on inside our minds. Sometimes not even people who are closest to us. It's just something that we as women have learned to kind of stuff down, put on that facade, and just tell everybody, how are you? I'm fine, right? That's our key answer. And I personally think that midlife women are particularly susceptible to self-doubt. Some of women out there may be feeling, at this point, in their 50s and 60s, maybe it's been, 20 years, 30 years since they've been in the workforce, and they're not feeling like they can re-enter. They may not feel like they're tech savvy enough. Or others may feel like it's too late in their career to make a change. They're maybe making too much money, or they've hit a certain stature and they feel stuck And they just maybe want to go out and start their own business, but they're just really unsure of themselves. And self-doubt can really, really make us stuck. I think women of the midlife years are susceptible to feeling invisible, right? We're no longer those, 20-something head turners that everybody's checking out as you walk on the beach. Instead, we've got our, saggy boobs, from gravity and nursing our babies. We've got those lines around our eyes and our mouth that show a life well lived, right? We were once, though, seen by everybody. Some of us were the, young, up-and-coming, superstar at work, talking to everybody, around the lunch table, going out for happy hours. And, but now that passion is just kind of faded. It's kind of gone. We just kind of go, do our work, come home, and that's just it. It's just not the same, excitement that we used to have. And then there are other, of us where we were just once the center of our kids' world, right? The all-powerful and all-knowing. We knew everybody's schedule. We were the only ones in the house who knew where everything was. We were basically, the spontaneous entertainer, the encyclopedia of all things, from Barney the purple dinosaur to how to drive a car. And now those kids have grown and flown, and for many women, their identity has flown with it, and they're just feeling lost. And sometimes these feelings can lead to this, to boredom, this loneliness, even depression. And unfortunately, some women, turn to alcohol or pills, for that. And we want to prevent that for sure. And then you add to all of this kind of stuff that's going on. Some women in their maybe 40s, maybe early 50s are still in the throes of menopause. So you've got the hormones wreaking havoc, creating all this mental angst on top of it. That's really adding to what's going on, and adding to us really believing that we are, born with this greatness inside us to do great things, and that's just baloney. That is just baloney, right? I myself have felt this way too. Many women are even scared for their future, even thinking about their future. Women of this age, maybe they're scared for their own health or their spouse's health, or what should happen if their spouse, should lose their job, or are they going to have enough to retire on? Maybe they're scared about things like, maybe they've had a recent divorce. Divorce is sometimes common, not sometimes, it's actually very common. It's a growing thing. We're a growing population of divorce, women over 50, and how are they going to make it? A lot of people are just concerned. It's just, you hit 45, 50, and it's all downhill from here. So I know I have felt self-doubt. I know I felt invisible. I know I felt scared for my future. Is there anybody else out there who has felt that way? And I'm sorry if you have, but most likely if you are within that age group, you have definitely felt some of those feelings. But as I've said, I am on a mission to change all of this. I want us midlife women to freaking shine our lights out there to the world so brightly that they got to put on sunglasses to see us. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because that's really what we have inside us, and and it's just this mental baloney that just weighs us down. But we can break through that. I know it, because as I said earlier, change doesn't happen at the gym or in the fridge. Change happens, here, and we got to do the work. So what can we do? Well, to start to change those deep, unwanted feelings and beliefs, there are a few things that I personally do that I'm going to share with you, 3 things in particular. But just know that these are just my suggestions, but there are lots of ways that you can start to kind of look within and get some questions answered for yourself, and get over some insecurities, get over some weaknesses, find your inner strength, all that kind of stuff. And these hopefully will be some suggestions that might at least spark something in you and set you on that road. But there are many paths to self-discovery, and it's just important that you just start the process wherever that is for you. So I personally am a self-proclaimed workshop junkie. I love a good workshop, that is for sure. I love to go to conferences, courses, weekends, days. I don't care, week-long ones. I love to go to those conferences. And my husband constantly gives me a hard time, always saying, oh, why are you spending money for someone to tell you that? You can just go look it up online, or read it in a book, or watch it on YouTube. And, for some, that That works great, but that is definitely not me. I love to be in the energy of like a workshop, the energy of other people striving to do their best, looking to change themselves. And when I'm in that energy, I realize that I'm not crazy, I'm not alone. And when I look at, around me, like if the people around me can do this, then I know I can too. So going to live workshops really, fills you up. They basically, force you to strip off that facade and that stuff, that face that you put on, and to hide all the crap that's going on up here. And they just, bring you, basically get you down. They strip you down, and they build you back up. And I think it's a really, really important process for anybody to go to if you really do want to evolve, to really just, some people sob at these things and cry, and then they leave exhilarated and just, a new passion for life. And that's definitely how I feel. But maybe live workshops aren't your thing. That's not for everybody. Maybe watching some online webinars or reading those books or things are something that is the way that you prefer to learn. But, maybe, there are so many people out there. There's somebody for everybody. There's like people like Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk. Some people love them, and some people find they're just too crass. Others love people like Wayne Dyer or Louise Hay. Others find, they get their messages and guidance from church or from the Bible. Myself personally, I've been on this road since I was 25, and I've studied a whole bunch of different things. And about 10 years ago, I came across Abraham Hicks, and that profoundly changed my life. And then some of you are thinking, who the heck are these people this woman is talking about? And that's okay too if you don't know who I'm talking about. Look them up or start just to find your own people. But find those people that maybe share a similar stories to you, a similar background to you. But you just got to find the messages that resonate with you. And then in whatever form that is for you, whether it's live or online or in a book, but just start. And then I know on these Midlife Mojos, I have a lot of friends who do run a lot of workshops, both on and offline, or they've written books. So if anybody's out there listening who has anything that can help the midlife woman, either a book or a live workshop or an online workshop that's coming up soon, please put it in the comments if it can help the midlife woman, thrive during these years, whether physically, emotionally, in her career. Please definitely put them in the comments. It would definitely be helpful for us all to see what's out there. And then I already mentioned that, that there's a bunch of things you can listen to or watch or read, but there's something that I do daily. Every single day, you will find me outside in nature, always pretty much on my back porch, but I am always spend some time in nature every single day, just quietly sitting. You can go for walks on the beach or hikes in the forest or maybe a bike ride in the mountains. You could just find, if you live in the city, find a tree, in a park and just sit there, maybe pull out your journal or write some intentions. Even just find a rock where there's some sun beating on you and close your eyes for a minute and meditate. But just kind of take in, Mother Nature, the sights, the sounds, let all of your senses, just kind of feel that. And then just kind of listen. I always say kind of listen to the wind a little bit and ask questions and just sit quietly and just listen for those answers. Look for them, receive them, acknowledge them. When we go out in nature and we quiet our minds and we quiet our bodies, something just physiologically happens to us, and it just allows us to be more open to receiving and in hearing those messages that we're receiving all day long from our inner self. But we don't necessarily hear because we're just too busy, jabbering away like myself, just jabber, jabber, jabber all the time. And if I didn't take that few minutes just to sit every single day quietly, I'd miss a lot of great things that were helping me to move myself forward. So definitely make sure that you do that. Mother, it's time to stop being super moms, dutiful wives, the perfect daughter, the hard out worker bee. Mother Nature is here to take care of us, our souls, and we should just let her. It's like she's like a reset button for us, just spending a few minutes in nature. You know, that's just, let your creativity flow after that. You know, I don't know. My happy place is like the beach, or as I mentioned, sitting out on my back porch. It's beautiful out there. I have it's beautiful, just woods in the area with a, you know, water in the back, and there's always birds and rabbits and squirrels, and it's just a beautiful place to be. And so if you've got a place that just gives you inner peace and that you can just quiet yourself, go ahead and put it in the comments for me. I'd love to see what your happy place is. All right, and then the last thing that I do is a combination. It's a combination of affirmations and essential oils. Does anybody else do that with a combination? They use essential oils when they do daily affirmations at all? It's a great way to start your day and end your day, or if something's just not going right during your day, to even take a moment. But essential oils can be an emotional release, and you know, they can support us both aromatically and topically to, you know, both simultaneously when we use them when combined with affirmations. And I have a few favorites that I use that I will talk about in just a minute. But first, you need to come up with an affirmation. And if you don't know what an affirmation is, it's a positive statement. You know, it's no more than a few words, a short, you know, short little phrase. But it's something that, you know, helps you to, it gives you an idea of how you want to feel. So you may not be feeling it yet, but how you want to feel. And it helps your brain to start to receive this message of how you want to feel. And soon your brain just thinks that's how you really feel. And the next thing you know, these things that you're asking for start to manifest in your life. So it's, again, it's just a positive few words that in some way create this, this positive atmosphere, environment for yourself. You know, I guess I hope I'm explaining that correctly in a good way. But anyways, so one affirmation that I personally use every single day is, my body is strong and healthy, and it supports me in everything that I do. Getting hurting myself and being down is one of my biggest fears. I'm a pretty on the go, on the move person, and the thought of being laid up in any way, shape, or form totally scares the bejesus out of me. And, you know, it stems from a long time ago. Since I was a teen, I suffered from, you know, back issues, and it really held me back in my life from doing things I wanted to do. You know, even just things as simple as, you know, when my kids were little, carrying them in a car seat out of the car, you know, going for long walks on the beach, exercising. It really held me back. And although I'm a far cry from where I was 13 years ago due to lifestyle changes, it's still, you know, whenever I get a twinge of anything, you know, I immediately hold back, and I fear that something terrible is going to happen and I'm not going to be able to do anything. And it really holds me back from doing some things physically I really want to try and do. And so this is just one that I've been saying every day, that my body supports me in everything that I do. And what I do is I use it. Oh, I meant to bring my bottle, but that's okay. We're going to pretend there's a bottle of, I wonder if I have one sitting here I can grab. I don't, but that's okay. We're going to pretend I have a bottle of oil in my hands here. And what I do is I take the essential oil, so we're pretending, here's our bottle of oil, and I'll take a drop and I'll put it into my hand. And then I'll go like this, and then I'll cup my fingers, and I'll cup my fingers on my hands, and I'll close my eyes. And I'll just take 4 or 5 nice, big, deep inhales and exhales. And I can just start to kind of feel my shoulders drop and my body relax a little bit. And within about 30 seconds, that's how long it takes for essential oils to start working. So you will start to feel that kind of effect. And then after I take the essential oil, I'll take my hands away, and I'll just say loudly and proudly whatever my affirmation is of the day. Some people talk about standing in a power pose and saying it. Some talk about using a mirror, which can be sometimes a little bit awkward, but that can be helpful too, to help you start to really believe the words that you're saying. Your mind can believe, you know, what you're saying. You can trick your mind into believing it. And once your mind believes it, then you're in. So we can really change, you know, our thinking that way. All right. Some other oils that I like to use for affirmations. I like to use Believe oil. I like to use Transformation oil. I like to use an oil called Gratitude. And these are all Young Living essential oils. And if you're interested in learning more about essential oils, please comment, and I'd be happy to hook you up with my essential oils page and get you started, or at least provide you with some information with that. But some other general affirmations that you can use are things like, I am deserving of good things in my life, or I am beautiful inside and out, or I am at the best at what I do and people need me. Whatever it is, that works for you and the words that work for you, that's the right words to use. There's no right or wrong affirmation as long as it's a positive. That is the only, I guess, way. That is the one, criteria that it has to have. So if there's anybody out there who uses affirmations, please go ahead and put one of your affirmations out there if you're willing to share, just to give other people some ideas of what to use. But those are my 3 things that I do to give myself a mental mojo makeover. I hit up a workshop or a webinar, or I read a book. I spend time chilling in nature, and then I use my essential oils for some affirmations. So please share, what are some things that you do to work on your thoughts and your beliefs? And I'm a few minutes over, but that's okay. It's a wrap. If you've enjoyed this episode of Midlife Mojo Monday, please share these with your friends and let them know that they can just like my Healthy You page, and then they can tune in every Monday at 7:30 as I hopefully am sharing some tidbits of knowledge that help you find your midlife mojo again. And I also, if you didn't know this, do have a private group called The Right Side of 45. And that's a private group that, I'm going to be honest, it's just kind of getting going. I'm not in there all the time, but with more people in there, the better the conversation is, and that group is going to start growing over the coming months. So I'm going to put both the link for my website for Young Living as well as the link to my Facebook for The Right Side of 45 in the comments, so you can find me in some other places other than just here on Monday nights. But other than that, thank you very much for tuning in live or listening to the replay. And I will see you same time, same place next week. All right. Have a great one, everybody.